Watch Newscast.
Watch Star Trek Saturdays at 6 on KARE 11.
Sammy makes the grade with Rebecca's favorite college professor.
I'm giving you an A+.
Next time on Cheers.
Thursday at 10:35 on KARE 11.
With the new recipe book that comes with wilderness pie filling, Kinsey's mom could have prepared peach apple crunch in 10 minutes or cherry s'mores in 3. In fact, Kinsey's mom could have prepared any of these fabulous fruit desserts in under 10 minutes, just with wilderness pie filling and this neat little recipe book. It's free on every can of Wilderness, but Kinsey's mom prepared strawberry cookie pizza in 5 minutes. Good choice. Wilderness for quick and easy desserts.
Hey, we've always wanted one. Come on, the car's ready. Come on.
I try to tell my customers that it can really make a difference how you pay for something.
How would you like to pay for
For instance, their purchase will get extra protection with the Citibank MasterCard. I mean, after all, who knows what could happen? What if the item should accidentally break? Well, Citibank has a program that will replace it for free. Personally, that's why I always shop with a Citibank card.
Not just MasterCard, Citibank MasterCard.
From your 24-hour news station, this is Paul Majors, Diana Pierce, Jeff Passolt, and meteorologist Paul Douglas. And this is KARE 11 News at 10.
Good evening. Paul Majors has the night off. The Catholic Archdiocese of St. Paul in Minneapolis is under fire tonight amid allegations that one of its priests sexually abused a teenage boy. A lawsuit filed today claims the Archdiocese knew about the problem but allowed the priest to keep working. That's just one of the stories headlining the news tonight. In a moment, you'll need a pad and pencil. We have up-to-the-minute information on where you can and cannot park your cars tonight. We'll also find out why this is shaping up to be a very tough Christmas for a traditional holiday charity. And later in the Extra, who really fired the first shots at Pearl Harbor? KARE 11's Alan Costantini has found a surprising answer. But we begin tonight with a civil lawsuit filed against the Catholic Archdiocese, the Church of St. John the Evangelist in Hopkins, and its former priest. The suit claims the priest sexually abused a boy for several years and accuses the Archdiocese of failing to stop it when the problem became known. KARE 11's Rick Kupchella reports.
They filed out of St. Teresa's Church in St. Paul tonight, bewildered by the revelation that their priest for 5 years has admitted to sexually assaulting 3 children in the years before he came here.
I think it's going to take a while for us to get over this.
The case that pushed it all forward stems from Father Robert Turner's years in Hopkins, where in 1983 he was counseling a boy having problems after his parents' divorce. In sworn depositions, the priest acknowledges that through counseling, he began offering the 14-year-old liquor and pornography and began sexually fondling him as well. Before long, the priest says the two were engaged in explicit sex, both here in the church rectory and in the priest's car. In a lawsuit filed today, that young boy, now an adult, is suing Turner for sexual battery.
And he became kind of a father figure to him and kind of a role model for him. And so he'd take the kid every Sunday and sometimes even during the week on recreational outings and kind of fulfill a surrogate father role, if you will. And the mother thought it was great that her son was spending time with the priest.
The victim here is going after the Archdiocese of Minneapolis and St. Paul as well. In depositions filed today with the complaint, church administrators acknowledged that Turner admitted to the sexual abuse of the boy 9 years ago. They acknowledged that at the time they suggested he find an attorney and see a psychiatrist and stay away from the boy. Still, those same depositions say they did not report the case to police, they did not look to see if there were other victims, and they put the priest back in the same church.
And so it was our attempt to clarify exactly the extent of the misconduct and what the right response to the misconduct was that led to the decision that he could stay in ministry.
And you basically made that based on one counselor saying he's okay.
Right. And that, looking back on that, that wasn't enough.
Turner acknowledges in his depositions that when the boy's parents continued to complain to the church, he was eventually moved to another church, but his affair with the boy lasted more than a year, even after that.
They really kind of took care of the priest and not took care of the victims. And the reason they do that is not because the Archbishop is evil and he condones child abuse. It's out of a kind of an indifference to the seriousness of the conduct and a loyalty to his own.
Now, according to attorneys for the man suing the church, Turner's admitted to 2 other affairs with young boys over the years. The church says they were under the impression that police were investigating the case and never found evidence to back it up. They say they did not follow up with the police themselves. Attorneys for the young man compare the church's actions to that of a manufacturer who continues to make products that he knows are unreasonably dangerous. They want money not only to repay the man for damages to him, but to punish the church for not stopping it. Di?
Well, Rick, what exactly was the police role in all of this?
Well, that will remain unclear probably forever. We checked with the police department that was named, and they don't keep records going that far back. And the church itself never did the follow-up to know where that went, if there ever was an investigation.
All right. Thank you, Rick. Well, that was just one of 2 sexual abuse lawsuits filed today, which involved the Catholic Church. In the other case, a lawsuit claims a priest in Buffalo sexually assaulted a young girl from the time she was in the 2nd grade through her high school graduation. Father Francis Reynolds worked at the St. Francis Catholic Church in Buffalo before his death 4 years ago. In this case, the suit does not claim the church knew about the alleged sexual abuse, but it does claim the church and the archdiocese knew Father Reynolds was an alcoholic with serious personal problems. The suit claims the church should have removed him from his position. The alleged victim in the William Kennedy Smith rape trial spent another grueling day on the stand today. Smith's attorney questioned the woman about inconsistencies in her story. The defense contends she seductively removed her pantyhose and shoes in the car before she and Smith went to the beach.
You didn't take them off in the car to take a tour of the house, did you?
I don't think so. I don't know.
The woman testified the trauma of being attacked has caused her to have memory lapses. It's not known if William Smith will testify in his own defense. He calls the woman's testimony, quote, a damnable lie. In Datelines, President Bush isn't wasting much time in reorganizing his White House staff. As expected, the president today picked Samuel Skinner to be his next chief of staff. Skinner had been Secretary of Transportation, but is being promoted in the wake of John Sununu's resignation. The president also named several other people to organize his re-election campaign. One of America's most notorious murderers is dead tonight. 49-year-old Richard Speck died of a heart attack in Joliet, Illinois. Speck was serving a life sentence for the gruesome murders of 8 female nursing students in Chicago in 1966. And in Wiesbaden, Germany, former hostage Terry Anderson is celebrating with his family. He and his sister Peggy Say rushed into each other's arms early this morning. Doctors say despite nearly 7 years in captivity, Anderson has no major health problems. They say he does have a sinus infection and needs to visit a dentist. Investigators are on the scene of a train collision in southeast Minneapolis at this hour. It happened just before 8 o'clock at the Union Rail Yard near the University of Minnesota. Investigators say a Burlington Northern engine was passing through the yard when it collided with rail cars parked on the tracks. At least one car carried a load of grain. It's unclear what caused the wreck. No one was injured and no hazardous materials were spilled. For the second time in a week, Twin Cityans need to be careful about where they park their cars. Minneapolis declared a snow emergency today. There's no parking on any snow emergency routes in Minneapolis tonight. There's no parking allowed on the odd side of residential streets. The only place you can park tonight in Minneapolis is on the even side of residential streets. Starting at 8 tomorrow morning, there's no parking on the parkways and no parking on the odd sides of residential streets. In St. Paul, there's no parking allowed on the snow emergency routes and no parking on the posted sides of the north-south streets. Starting tomorrow morning, there's no parking on any east-west streets and no parking on the unmarked sides of north-south streets. The rules are much simpler in Hopkins and Bloomington. Parking is not allowed on any residential street until it's been plowed curb to curb. Our latest round of snow proved to be too much for the roof of the Montgomery Ward's warehouse in St. Paul. A 30-foot section collapsed this morning, taking the plumbing, heating, and electrical connections with it. Several employees were inside at the time, but no one was hurt.
There was a significant amount of collapse, and that's why we're taking the precautions to make sure nobody is in there, and we get the proper people in here to determine the extent and what the next course of action will be.
60 people work in the building, and it's unknown when it will be reopened. Damage is estimated at $350,000. At least 5 roofs have collapsed in the Twin Cities since the Halloween blizzard. Well, if you're planning to spend less on gifts this holiday season, join the club. A new poll by the Associated Press shows 40% of the people surveyed plan to cut back on their holiday spending. And 71% say they'll pay cash for everything instead of running up their credit card bills. With 3 weeks to go before Christmas, Salvation Army bell ringers are receiving smaller than usual donations. Salvation Army officials say the need for help is unusually high this year, and they could be in jeopardy of not reaching their goals if donations don't pick up. Well, there's finally some good news coming from the weather office tonight. Paul Douglas has details of a weekend meltdown. Later, we'll tell you about the brightest new holiday lights shining tonight on the Twin Cities. In sports, you can scratch one familiar name from the list of candidates to be a next Vikings coach. But next in the extra, Minnesotans who did something during Pearl Harbor we guarantee will surprise you.
Jack and Mary are newlyweds. Mary is learning the joy of cooking. Jack is learning diplomacy.
Is everything all right, dear?
Yes, dear.
It's a shame our newlyweds don't know about down-home dinners from Perkins. Wholesome dinners served in hearty portions, just like Mom used to make when you lived at home.
Honey, have you seen my earring?
Come in now for a free slice of pie with any down-home dinner purchase.
Office Max is the supermarket-sized office product store with incredible savings on all kinds of great gifts like briefcases, calculators, desk sets, typewriters, even copy machines. Uh-oh. Ouch. Save on the Smith Corona personal word processor that allows data exchange with PCs, only $3.99. Or save on 50 Fuji 5 1/4-inch diskettes, only $19.99. Office Max. This holiday savings is the bottom line.
Toys? I'll show you a toy. Hand me that spool there. And that rubber band.
It's the Great Toy Takeover at Target. With great prices on Tyco radio-controlled vehicles. Turbo Bandit, Turbo Heads-Up Hopper, and Turbo Blaster, $49.99 each. And it's Disney's Ariel. At home on land or sea with removable fin and posable arms and legs, just $6.99.
That is a toy car.
No, Grandpa. That's a toy car.
The Great Toy Takeover at Target.
Can you describe the new Eagle Summit in one word?
An all-new, versatile, compact wagon with a removable rear seat and optional all-wheel drive.
I said one word.
It's hyphenated.
With the anti-lock brakes on this all-new Eagle Summit wagon, I can stop on a... What's the word I'm looking for?
How about a dime?
Okay, but first tell me the word.
This has been a day of irony in Hawaii. The USS Missouri arrived today to mark the anniversary of Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor. The Missouri is the same ship on which the Japanese signed the surrender papers in Tokyo Bay. In tonight's Extra, the second of our 4 stories looking back at the day Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. 50 years ago this weekend, a lazy Hawaiian Sunday morning exploded into history. Most people believe the first shot on December 7th, 1941. Actually, the Japanese shot first on December 7th, 1941. But as KARE 11's Alan Costantini reports, Minnesotans who were there know better.
On December 7th, 1941, before this,
The Japanese are bombing Pearl Harbor.
and this, there was this. Were the first shots at Pearl Harbor fired by the attacking Japanese? No. They were fired at a Japanese mini-submarine by an American destroyer patrolling the harbor entrance, the USS Ward, manned by a crew of young naval reservists from St. Paul. One of them was 18-year-old ship's cook Richard Thill.
We didn't know what to think because we thought it could be a drill. We weren't sure. It didn't look like a submarine because all you saw was this oblong thing sticking up out of the water. You know, you didn't see any part of the hull, just the conning tower.
But in the 1970 movie Tora, 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 the captain of the Ward knew exactly what to do when his crew spotted the small sub behind a Navy tug towing a target barge.
That, Mr. Gepner, is a submarine. She's obviously trying to sneak through the net into the harbor. General quarters.
The real ward captain was William W. Outerbridge, who had taken command of the ward just the day before. He would get the Navy Cross for not hesitating.
Mount 1, commence firing.
Mount 1, commence firing.
No footage of the actual confrontation exists, and the movie is not entirely accurate. This World War II destroyer played the part of the World War I vintage ward, and both shots are fired by gun number 1 in the movie. In reality, the second shot, which hit the sub, was fired by gun number 3, an unshielded gun on the starboard side in the middle of the ship. A gun manned by an all-St. Paul crew, including 25-year-old Ray Nolde.
Oh, I was a trainer. I trained the gun, see. Then I got a pointer. The pointer, it takes care up and down, see, you know how a ship bounces up and down. When he thinks we're both on the target, then he pulls the trigger, the pointer does, see.
When the sub began to dive, the ward dropped depth charges.
We dropped depth charges under it and blew it out of the water, and it went up and rolled over and went down and sank.
Orville Ethier was a 20-year-old sailor who remembers that since the ward fired the first shots, those 2 Japanese crewmen on the sub were the first of thousands to die that day. Somehow the impact of what the ward had done didn't register with the naval authorities inside the harbor, and less than an hour later the attacking plane struck. John Gill was a 17-year-old seaman, awestruck at the scene of destruction. He felt like a spectator in a stadium.
That was just like when they hit Arizona. It's like being in the dome. We were the only one out there watching them see we're on patrol.
Although one plane did drop bombs at the ward, the ship didn't lose a man. And in a war-shocked America, the crew of gun number 3 were instant heroes. They had, however, unknowingly inflicted some damage on the attacking enemy. They posed with the gun for magazine photographers. This photo became famous in Life magazine, but ward crewmen say it was no big deal to them at the time. The ward's luck continued even to the day the ship was sunk. Ironically, that was 3 years later to the day, on December 7th, 1944. The ship was hit by a kamikaze attack at Oromok Bay in the Philippines. But once again, the ward had timing.
If we would have been hit an hour and a half sooner, there would have been probably 300 casualties because we had 250 Marines in our troop space. But we had already landed the troops, and we were pulling out empty when we were sunk.
Not a single life was lost, and actually the ward could have been saved. But the fleet needed to move, so the USS O'Brien was ordered to fire and sink her. Who was the captain of the O'Brien? William W. Outerbridge. The ward skipper at Pearl Harbor sent his former command to the bottom of Oromok Bay. The ward is gone, but not all of her. After Pearl Harbor, it was decided to remove gun number 3 to make room for more modern anti-aircraft weapons. But that group of reservists from St. Paul found the gun in Bremerton, Washington, and they arranged to have it brought to the state capitol grounds here in St. Paul. And here it remains. This is that same gun 50 years later. And the men of the ward have formed a club that everyone calls the First Shotters, because they fired the first American shots of World War II. Alan Costantini, KARE 11 News in St. Paul.
The USS Ward made history from her birth. The destroyer was built and launched at the height of World War I in just 17 days. The previous record was 4 months.
This is the place for great enchiladas. These are the people who come to the place for great enchiladas. And these are the enchiladas those aficionados want a whole lotta. Chi-Chi's Whole Lotta Enchilada. 2 chickens, 2 beef, or 2 chicken Supremas enchiladas. Add a hot fudge sundae and that's a whole lotta enchilada. So if you're not an enchilada aficionada, maybe you oughta.
Chi-Chi's a celebration of food.
Gift certificates, the perfect holiday gift for everyone.
It wakes up sleepy purples and helps canary yellows to fly. It gives the blues a wonderful bump and even helps the roses to look rosier. It's Fuji color, and it's the reason why more people are looking into Fuji films every day. Fuji, a new way of seeing things.
Dayton's 2-day sale. Only 2 short days, this Thursday and Friday.
Sesame Street Live is all kinds of fun, wrapped into one.
Who can you trust these days to take care of your car when it starts shaking?
Or pulling, or rattling.
Or squeaking.
For suspension or alignment, nobody beats Midas.
I worry about something I can't see.
What your eyes can't see, our state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment will show you. Whatever the problem, we keep it from getting bigger. So for alignment shocks or struts, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Now get 25% off all Midas shocks and struts. 25% off installed.
You're watching KARE 11 News at 10.
3, 2, 1. The lights on Minnesota's official Christmas tree are burning brightly tonight at the state capitol. The tree lighting ceremony has been an annual event since 1960. Governor Carlson couldn't attend this year because he's under the weather. But hopefully Paul Douglas has some news that will bring the governor out from that. He has news of a thaw.
Should warm the cockles of his heart, Diana. It really does look nice. 30s over the weekend. Big warm up. If we didn't have the snow on the ground, it would warm up into the 50s. But we got the drift that ate Golden Valley out here in the backyard. This thing just keeps mutating. It keeps growing bigger and bigger. It's up to about 23 feet now. Paul, you say, update me. Bring me up to date on our grand total here in the Twin Cities. Yeah, on paper that looked good. Minnehaha Falls in the background, 61.5 inches. That's normal seasonal snowfall for the North Shore, 13 inches snowier than an entire winter on average here in the Twin Cities. In terms of precip, we've seen nearly 36 inches of precipitation this year. That's just about 10 inches wetter than normal. The drought is over. Oh, good grief. Well, this'll work. As you can imagine, skiing is phenomenal. There's powder out there, the kind of skiing you would expect maybe at Snowbird or Aspen. Maybe not. But it is phenomenal skiing all across the upper Midwest, and all of these resorts boasting an additional 2 to 5 inches of snow last night and this morning. Great weather for cross-country skiing and downhill. How about a picnic? Lake Harriet Bandshell after the Halloween blizzard, thanks to Andrea Campion of Plymouth. Hey, why not? 14 the high today, a low -2. Just about 4 inches of snow from last night's Clipper. -2, clear, no wind. The wind chill, now there shouldn't be any wind chill if there's no wind. I think that's dew point, -5. We'll get our best people on that. Humidity 87 on the barometer, 3013, and steady. Here's the satellite loop. Last night's Clipper retreating eastward. Here comes our weather maker for the weekend. Long about Sunday, we could see some light precipitation. It could be a mixture of wet snow, ice, and rain. Check out some snow totals from last night. A band of 5 to 6 out towards Marshall, Litchfield, and Wilmer. A lot of spots did wind up with 3 to 4, but Arctic air now is in retreat. The core of that blistering air mass is now lifting northward into Canada. Our flow is about to become more zonal, blowing from the Pacific. The arrival of that warm air will set off a swath of light snow tomorrow across central to northern Minnesota. Here in the cities, we could see some flurries. Bottom line, slush on the way for the weekend. I think you'll like the outlook. It's coming next.
Next time on Cheers.
Him I like.
Guess who's making the grade with Rebecca's favorite college professor?
You slept with Sam Malone? Oh, is that his last name?
Now, Sammy What's-His-Name is the new teacher's pet.
I'm giving you an A+.
And Rebecca's the teacher's pet peeve.
You're a soulless pig of a rotten slut. Slut!
Oh, looks like our Miss Howe can kiss that old Dean's List goodbye. Next time on Cheers.
Thursday at 10:35 on KARE 11.
The Magic of Christmas, starring the Oak Ridge Boys and Marie Osmond. Saturday night, December 14th at the Target Center. KARE 11 and K102 present The Magic of Christmas with Marie Osmond, together on stage with the Oak Ridge Boys. Plus, a special guest appearance by Santa Claus. Reserve seats at the Target Center box office and all Ticketmaster locations or charged by phone. The Magic of Christmas, the new Christmas tradition.
It's the all-on-sale holiday
holiday sale at Montgomery Ward. Friday and Saturday only. Plus, save an extra 10% even on sale prices. Shop Friday evening for an extra 10% off brand name merchandise, including all apparel, all fine jewelry, all home furnishings. Get an extra 10% off all day on the hottest brand names, all electronics, all appliances, and all furniture. Plus 0% interest. Put more under the tree for less at Montgomery Ward. Right now!
Congratulations, Bill, to you and your LDB team on your 10th anniversary.
Thank you, Corbin.
Now, I'm a member of the LDB Technologies Group, and I assure you we are serious about full service and saving you money. We provide national, international, 1-800, and away-from-office travelers long distance, and worldwide conference calling. LDB provides lower business rates and generous volume discounts. I like LDB. LDB is the best. Let Bill and his team prove it to you.
Here's the forecast for tonight. It's going to be the last sub-zero night in sight for a while, -2 to -7. Kind of sorry to see this sub-zero air passing. It was nice, mostly clear overnight, and then tomorrow more clouds. Could be a little light snow, mainly north, highs in the low 20s. We're looking at 30s. These temperatures over the weekend could be conservative. It could be well up into the mid-30s by Saturday and Sunday. Chance of a mixed bag of precip on Sunday, drying out, cooling off a little bit by Monday. Now, looking at that weekend forecast, you could only have one logical response.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Ah, yes. I think that sums it up very, very well. Say hi to an octet. There's 8 of them from the Minnesota Chorale, and they want to remind you about Handel's Messiah. It is an annual tradition. St. Paul Ordway. From the 10th to the 15th, there are 3 sing-along performances. December 10th at the Basilica and December 14th and 15th at the Ordway. You can call the Ordway. Still a few tickets available if you have not heard all 150 members of the chorale singing with the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra. It is quite an event. And Diana, you are going to be a guest conductor, what, Saturday, December the 14th?
That's right. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a, huh?
I'm looking forward to it.
What?
Never mind.
Good night.
Good night.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Yeah. In sports, the list of candidates to coach the Vikings is one name shorter tonight. We'll find out why former Gophers boss Lou Holtz is definitely out of the running. And Minnesota Bound looks at why some of the junk in your tackle box may be worth big money.
Tonight's KARE 11 weather has been brought to you in part by Med Centers.
The world is full of little reasons why you need health coverage as good as Med Centers. Med Centers, dedicated to better health.
What do you think of Carson's 12-hour sale?
It's like a beacon in a storm. Exactly.
Carson's 12-hour sale.
It's like a pizza with the works.
Incredible savings in every department.
A light at the end of the tunnel, yes. A light all bright and shining.
Carson's 12-hour sale. Only 12 hours.
And it's over like that. It's history.
When the light goes out, poof, gone.
Gone.
Carson's 12-hour sale, Saturday 8 to 8.
Poof, gone.
This holiday season, save on top brand names at Menards. Give a gift they'll love to use. Skill Tools. This skill saw is now just $38.99, and the classic skill saw just $49.99. Stanley garage door openers make great gifts too. This half-horsepower chain drive opener with automatic safety reverse is now just $119. Give the best this season and save at Menards.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Once upon a time, there was an incredible vegetable, the green giant mushroom.
Ooh.
It did amazing things for food. The giant picked only the mushrooms plump enough to make pasta perfect, juicy enough to make spaghetti sumptuous, and salads scrumptious. Soon people added the giant's mushrooms to chicken, burgers, stew, gravy, and people ate happily ever after.
Because green giant mushrooms give everything a lift.
Ho, ho, ho.
Green giant.
Well, we don't know who will replace Jerry Burns, but we do know that it won't be Lou Holtz.
Unless he has that clause in his Notre Dame contract that he could leave for the Vikings.
Right.
Remember that old deal?
Yeah.
Lou Holtz took himself out of the running for any coaching job by signing a 5-year contract extension at Notre Dame today. Holtz in his 6th season at Notre Dame, leading the Fighting Irish to a 9-3 record this year. His team headed for the Sugar Bowl January 1st. That obviously just a little more attractive than trying to rebuild the Vikes. With Holtz out of the picture, the Vikes could be following a growing trend in the NFL, going for a younger coach with a fresh approach. And former Vikes assistant Pete Carroll certainly fills that bill. Pete Carroll told me today he hasn't heard a thing, but I guarantee you that's going to change as the season draws to a close. And here's another one for you to think about. KARE 11 Sports has learned that Ray Perkins has made a written request to the University of Minnesota detailing his interest in the Gopher job. The former Tampa Bay coach was fired at Alabama a couple years ago after an 8-3 season, but nice to know a big name like that wants to come to the University of Minnesota. And now we're going to go Minnesota bound. Tonight's Star Trib columnist Ron Schara has a historical look at how anglers have been trying to outwit fish for 2 million years.
Comes to fish stories, the historical keepers rest in Bud Snyder's basement. Flick on the lights and scan the walls. For sure, the ghosts of fishing past must live here. Old rods, old reels, old minnow buckets, and of course, hundreds of antique lures.
But see, everybody thought they had some idea, regardless of what it was. Some were good, some were bad, some worked, most didn't.
Fishy or otherwise, Snyder, a retired tackle salesman, has been collecting fishing paraphernalia now for 55 years. All of it neatly displayed in his own museum, his basement.
This is Ole Evinrude's first outboard motor, his first production motor, 1915. He called it the Model A.
Snyder's collection includes old fishing magazine covers, plus hooks, line and sinkers, and reels by the hundreds.
This is a rare reel from the 1600s, kind of a clunker, but back then I suppose they thought it was great.
Snyder says mankind's history is reflected in his fishing tackle. If so, the search for perfection is told in fishing lures. One of Snyder's favorites is the nifty Minnie.
And you take it apart on the end and fill it with water and put in a live minnow.
Sounds interesting, but alas, most of the fish-fooling ideas eventually join the rest of Snyder's collection, collecting dust. In Dodge Center, Minnesota, I'm Ron Schara, Minnesota Bound.
Well, Felton Spencer is bound for the NBA injury list, which means he'll miss at least 5 games after being elbowed in the eye by teammate Thurl Bailey a couple nights ago. And the Charlotte Hornets have a new teammate. Former Gopher Kevin Lynch ending his holdout with the Hornets today and settling for a contract worth much less than Charlotte's original offer. His holdout cost him an estimated $200,000. And we're going to wrap things up with another play of the day. This one should keep you pinned to your television screen. Okay, here it is, the Body Bowl from Milwaukee. And the competition is fierce.
I can't believe this is going on.
You what you gotta do, man. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you
I don't even know why I did this or why I hit my nose, but
Brings a whole new meaning to the phrase split in bowling, huh? Right in the bridge of the nose instead of in the lane.
That's really stupid. They should wear helmets if nothing
fun.
else. Having fun, right. Okay. Thanks, Jeff. Enlightened us. Before we go, a man who made the mistake of his life when he tried to make a simple bank deposit. But first, more of the places you can drop off toys for tots this holiday season.
Tonight's KARE 11 Sports has been brought to you in part by the Discover Card.
Do your holiday shopping with the Discover Card, and you'll not only give, you'll receive a cashback bonus for every charge. It pays to Discover.
Every time it rains.
The Discover Card pays a cashback bonus on every penny you charge.
Pennies from heaven.
It pays to Discover.
Look what's under your tree. 20% off everything in the store at Famous Footwear. Save 20% on everything you buy at Famous Footwear now.
Okay, what you're proposing is a computer superstore that sells the best brands of computers?
That's right. Apple, IBM, Tandy, Compaq,
Hewlett-Packard, and more.
and super selection. Nearly 5,000 products to choose from. Great prices, too.
So low, I'll bet we can guarantee them.
What do you think?
Let's go with it. Now, what do we call this store?
Computer City, best brands, super selection, great prices. Computer City.
Join us for our grand opening celebration at the new Computer City.
Here's this week's KARE 11 News Express Run. Minneapolis Route 77C from Apple Valley and Eagan to downtown Minneapolis. Leaves 147th Street and Diamond Path at 7:14 a.m. Black Hawk Road Park and Ride at 7:38. Arrives at 7th Street and 2nd Avenue at 8:15. Join KARE 11 and the Minnesota Valley Transit for a free ride on the KARE 11 News Express.
Before we go, an Illinois man made a colossal blunder when he went to the bank drive-thru this week. Police say he stopped at the drive-thru window with two bags, one filled with money, the other with drugs. He dropped the wrong bag into the chute and sent it inside. The teller, of course, figured out the deposit didn't belong to anyone's account and called the police. The man was still waiting in his car for a receipt when the officers arrested him. My favorite story.
Whoops. Yeah, they usually do give out a sucker there at the bank in the drive-thru, don't they?
There's karma.
And now they caught one.
That's going to do it for us this evening. We leave you with this note. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Good night.
Thanks for watching KARE 11 News, the #1 newscast in the Twin Cities. Stay tuned for more news and weather every hour on the hour. The Minnesota Vikings take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Watch KARE 11 for pregame action, Sunday at 6:30.